What did anonymous SEC coaches have to say about the Oklahoma Sooners?
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com. On today's show, we're going to discuss Joel Klatt's thoughts on Bedlam, Oklahoma's schedule, number one in SP+. But first, he's Jay Smith of Unfair Sports. I'm John Williams of Sooners Wire at USA Today Sports. And again, welcome to Locked On Sooners. We're going to start with this. Every year, Athlon Sports puts out an article asking asking coaches to speak off the record about other SEC teams. We did this last year here on Locked On Sooners. We're going to do it again this year. And they had some pretty poignant things to say about the Oklahoma Sooners. And let's start with this one, Jay. They said, it's a huge gamble that John Mateer can come in and immediately acclimate to playing against the defenses in this league. We'll see if he can do it because that's what will determine this staff's future.
Interesting, in my personal opinion, that the thought is John's not going to be able to acclimate to this league. I say that only because we really just saw Diego Pavia do that not too long ago. We saw Jay Daniels do that a couple years back. We've seen other quarterbacks do that. When a quarterback can play, they can play. And especially when it's already put up numbers. I mean, think about it. New Mexico State, with Diego Pavia, they've got 2 wins against Auburn. He had one at New Mexico State, and then he had one at Vanderbilt, being, just hit that dude. So I think it's fascinating that there's so much doubt in his ability to translate from one league to the next when Mateer is pretty big dude that's built to play SEC type ball. I mean, he's like 220 pounds at 6'1", 6'2"-ish. So he's not a small dude coming in here trying to do all that running, even though we've seen small dudes that go around and start running because they're just athletic and good enough to win in this conference. But I do think that's intriguing to me that a lot of these schools are this anonymous coach feels like that they're not sure if Mateer's ready to translate. Now, granted, they didn't say that he couldn't, but more so that is the big question. I thought that was pretty fascinating.
Well, I mean, they are putting all their chips in the John Mateer, Ben Arbuckle basket. And I think rightfully so. And any other program that didn't have an established quarterback or one that they were ready to move to that was a guy that they recruited would have brought John Mateer in.
Absolutely.
No questions asked. Like Miami was trying to do it. North Carolina was trying to do it. If there wouldn't have been the Ben Arbuckle connection, I'm sure a number of other SEC teams would have tried to do it, but they weren't able to. Oklahoma was. And yes, is it a jump in competition? Absolutely it is.
Huge.
There's no doubt about that. Nobody's going to question that one bit. We're going to talk about Oklahoma's schedule in the next segment as it refers to SP+. But yes, we get it. It's a jump in competition, but the dude is a good quarterback. He had a win over Washington last year. He had a win over Texas Tech. That kind of stuff will translate. Now, did they have a bad loss to Wyoming? Yes, they did. But at some point, you just got to recognize that the dude's got talent and he's going to step his game up. Another quote from an anonymous SEC coach is on Brent Venables. And he had this to say: normally it's not a great idea when a head coach goes back to play calling, but hey, Brent Venables was one of the best in the nation at it when he was at Clemson and at Oklahoma. He wants to have more control over what he knows.
And that's rightfully so. You were one of the best when you were calling plays. Of course, you would rather be yourself. I know that's the one thing that he's very passionate about, and he wants to see successful. So BV wants to go out there and do it himself. And I like the idea that BV is going to be your defensive coordinator, mainly because he's got Wes Goodwin, who helped him a lot at Clemson, who has experience calling plays, can do it. Nate Dreiling also has experience doing it. And so you've got three dudes that know how to call defenses. Brandon Hall understands the defense and knows what needs to be done. The entire staff understand what needs to be done on the defensive side of the ball. So you're not doing it in a situation where Brent Venables is running around with a bunch of green guys. All of them are experienced. The players know the plays. The players understand Brent Venables' style of aggressiveness. So that's a big plus. Now, and I like the fact that they pointed out that it's typically not good, but at the same time, when you're good at it, it makes sense for you to do it. There's a lot of offensive dudes that do that today. I mean, Hugh Freeze, if I'm correct, runs plays there at Auburn. You've got Steve Sarkisian runs the offense there at Texas. That's a very common thing on the offensive side of the ball. It always intrigues me that the defense is one that people question. I mean, heck, Saban, for the most part, had final call on the defensive plays there. So what makes us think that this couldn't be successful?
Listen, I get people's apprehension to this. You know, when the offense is on the field, you need your head coach kind of locked in a little bit more. But as you just mentioned, man, he's got guys that he trusts that can run through adjustments on the sidelines, that he doesn't have to be over there talking to the entire defense every single drive or that the offense is on the field. Brent Venables can still stay engaged to what's happening when the offense is on the field and let guys like Goodwin and Dreiling and Brandon Hall and Jay Valai and Miguel Chavis and Todd Bates do their thing talking to the defense. He's got trusted assistants that have been around the game, that know what he wants, and can know the adjustments that need to be made on the sideline. Are there going to be times where he has to go over to the sideline and rip his defense a new one? Absolutely. And he's going to. That's just Brent Venables. And this is one of those guys that he wants to be more involved in everything if he can. The idea that he was able to take a step back last year, and listen, he took a step back and Zach Alley had success on the field, but on the recruiting trail, not as much. We did not see him do very much for the linebacker position as a recruiter. So getting Brent Venables more actively involved is going to help everything on the defensive side. The last thing that an anonymous SEC coach had to say was this: it's a hot seat situation for sure. They're banking on an instant impact from Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer, the way Vanderbilt brought in the New Mexico State coach quarterback combo. That could happen. Their receivers were non-existent last year, but a lot of that was injury. They should bounce back and give Mateer some options.
Yeah, that's the good thing is that the wide receiver room was probably the biggest hurt, even honestly more than the offensive line. I know it's weird to say that. The line was a lot of inexperienced players, but they've got a lot of snaps. So they're basically guaranteed to improve. That is how Bill Beatonbow plays, how Beatonbow coaches. We've seen players get better when they play a lot for him. And so you're bringing back a ton of snaps. Over 3,000 snaps are returning on the offensive line, with 4 guys playing at least 8 games last year. And then you bring in some veterans who, if they're at the strength you need, which we're hearing Derek Simmons is extremely country strong, you'll see some improvement there. Plus, you've got a second level of players that you trust that you're ready to throw out on the field. A Logan Howland, even freshmen, Michael Fasusi and Ryan Fogier, they're about ready to play. Jake Michla comes in with a lot of experience on the interior, not only a guard, but also at center. So he can play in your interiors as well. And you still got Jake Taylor, who's coming back from injury, who at moments gave you some good times when he was healthy. So this is the year that Oklahoma's actually got a lot of depth at the offensive line, and this is the year they should be a heck of a lot better.
Yeah, I don't expect the offense to be anything close to what it was last year. Like, they averaged 13 points per game in SEC play as an offense. You take the defensive scores off the table, and that's what the offense did. There's zero chance that happens again. I will shave my head live on Locked On Sooners if they average 13 points a game on offense.
That's a bold one there, John. I appreciate it.
We'll get a little bit bolder at some point once I do a full evaluation of this. But they're going to average at least 25 points per game. And I reckon they'll probably average 30 points per game as an offense this year. John Mateer, Jadyn Ott, a group of wide receivers that, yes, okay, Javonte Gibson's injured. Jaden Gibson's injured. But you got some dudes still in Deion Burks, Isaiah Satania. We're big believers in Zion Kearney. We think he's got that wide receiver one potential. I thought he had it before he played last year. I still think he has it. Let's not let his true freshman season be what we make a final call on his career up for. The dude's got talent. He's got skills. Yeah. So this is a good wide receiver group. You just got to keep everybody healthy. And if you can keep everybody healthy, it's going to be humming. That offense is going to be humming. John Mateer is going to be throwing that ball, and they're going to put up a lot of points. And they're going to have to. They got a tough schedule. We're going to discuss that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners. And this episode is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. You ever look at your finances and ask yourself, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track your spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year over at monarchmoney.com. And again, thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jay, the SB Plus rankings and returning production got updated after the spring portal season. And the Oklahoma Sooners are still sitting pretty good. I mean, they're number 16 in the nation in SB Plus, number 10 overall in returning production, got a little bit of a bump on the defensive side. But where we're going to see whether this team is good or not is going to come down to that strength of schedule portion. The Oklahoma Sooners ranked number 1 in the nation in strength of schedule. Congratulations, everybody. We're number 1.
We're number 1. Best in the SEC. Best in the SEC. I don't know. It doesn't really tell us anything until we play the game on the field. Not really, but at the same time, Oklahoma's still sitting roughly at that 10 spot in the returning production. You know, in the winter, you're sitting you've got 6th on the offense rank, 46th on defense. I guess the calculations that was put together by Bill Conley, and it appears that Oklahoma got a slight bump on the defensive side, 63%. So they moved up to 30th in comparison, 8th in offensive returning production at 77%. But that's mainly because you're bringing in a running back like Jadyn Ott, which you actually dropped a couple spots, but still 77%. So you're bringing back a ton of production. That's a huge deal for what you need. And then the offensive line, you bring in Jake Michela. You know, so you get a bump as far as percentage go, but you did lose out on, actually lost a couple of percentage points, which is kind of intriguing, but whatever. Well, Gavin Sawchuk being gone. I mean, you're losing out on a productive running back. That kind of hurts you. But being 10th in the country in returning production should lead Oklahoma to a very good season, especially being ranked 30th on defense and bringing back 63% of your production. All you've got to do is show out. Just show up, play. If you do that, nobody will say a word. But that number 1 ranked schedule, whoo, buddy, big yikes.
Yeah, listen, I've been out here talking a lot about how I don't know if Oklahoma's schedule is as hard as everybody wants to make it out to be. I'm gonna have to sit here and be like, okay, the data does not support that. It's just simply based on what I can see. Based on what teams lost. But I think the reality is it's going to be a tough schedule. And shout out to Bill Connolly for putting together his numbers. It is going to be a tough schedule. I mean, you've got Michigan week 2. You've got Auburn, You've got, at home, you're going to have Red River. Obviously, that's a tough game every single year, no matter how good a team is or not.
Yeah.
But Texas is one of the quote unquote top programs going into 2025. A lot of people have them at number 1. They have them inside the top 5. I've seen projections that have them as the national champion. So they're going to be tough. This is an SEC that is always going to rank pretty highly in SP plus. It's a conference that's going to rank pretty high in returning production, inside the top, 10 in SP plus. You've got how many teams is that, Jay? You got 1, Alabama at number 2, Georgia number 4, Texas number 5, LSU at number 9. So it's 4 teams in the top 10. And then just at 11 is Ole Miss. You play
13 is Tennessee.
Yeah. You play 5 teams inside the top 13 in SB plus rankings. And you're sitting at number 16 and South Carolina is at number 17. So your schedule has a lot of really good teams on it. Auburn's at number 25. And I thought I saw Michigan. Oh, Michigan's at number 10. So you've got a lot of teams in the top 25 of SB plus that are going to be on your schedule this year. And
Auburn's at 21. It's just everybody, man. Just the SEC, period. There you go.
Yeah. And it's going to be a tough schedule. And I mean, that's going to beg the question, at what level of success does Oklahoma need to have for everybody to feel confident and comfortable with where we're headed as a program? Because, at Oklahoma, the expectation is playoffs, national title contention, SEC title contention. And if they're not there again for the 4th year in a row under Brent Venables, and the 6th year in a row overall, if they don't make the playoff, how are we going to be feeling about that? Probably not great, but the schedule is what the schedule is, and you didn't get done any favors. And a lot of that's your own fault because you were so successful over the 10 years prior to coming into the SEC. But you're going to have success this year. You're going to have to be in playoff contention come November. You're going to have to be one of those teams that's right there on the fringe of making the playoff. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of really unhappy people.
A lot of unhappy people. And I mean, you just got to go out there now and you got to show it. You got to bounce back. Like you said, having prior success hurts you sometimes, especially when you make a big regime change and you try to do an entire organizational change internally. That doesn't always work out as well as you would like. And in this circumstance, we're kind of seeing a situation where it's like, dang, we were so good that now, we kind of got punished for it. But I don't have any issues with it. I think that Oklahoma, we could walk in there and we can make it happen. I think we have the capabilities of outdoing our schedule. I don't think that everybody's schedule is going to be as good. I mean, this is all a predictive measure, and none of this stuff actually happens until actual people go on the field and play the actual game. The computers don't play the game as of yet. Robots have not taken over. So players, we're going to have to go out there and physically do it. And so it doesn't take into account of any other, factors that could potentially happen. But I don't think that that's going to be an issue for the Sooners at all. I do think that we can go out there and make something happen.
You're 10-2 Oklahoma, you're making the playoff.
Oh yeah,
that's
100%.
Guaranteed. If you're 9-3 Oklahoma with the number 1 strength of schedule, there's a really good chance that you're going to be in the mix. You're going to be in the conversation. And will they put a 9-3 team in the playoff? That will be a great question for the committee. But when you've got a schedule like Oklahoma's, you're going to have to be in the conversation. So really what all it comes down to is just go win games.
Yep.
And Oklahoma's going to be good enough to win, I think, every game on their schedule. Now, will they win every game on their schedule? I don't know
about that. Yeah. Right.
But I think they're good enough to go win every game on their schedule.
Yeah. I don't see why Oklahoma couldn't do it.
But I also think that some of these opponents, Texas, maybe not Ole Miss, LSU, I think Texas, LSU, maybe Tennessee, South Carolina, those are to me like coin flip games. If I'm looking at the schedule right now, that's what I see those as coin flip games, just off the top of my head, which means they could go either way. they go.
Yeah, I'd say the
Oklahoma's
anonymous
way.
coaches made some good points on that too. I mean, yeah, when you look at some of the opponents like Ole Miss, who's throwing the ball?
I mean,
Simmons is going to need
Simmons
time.
be good, but how quickly is he going to be good?
Right.
Arch is going to be good. How quickly is he going to be good? Bryce Underwood's going to be good. How quickly is he going to be good? Drew Pribula, is he going to be that dude? Right. First year as a starter.
Right.
At Mizzou. Who's the other one? Joey Aguilar. Is he going to be a dude, his first year starting at the SEC level? Like a lot of really good, potentially good quarterbacks on Oklahoma's schedule. It's just a matter of how quickly will they be good?
And it's all fair questions. It's all fair questions. Just like there's questions about if Mateer can translate to the SEC.
Yeah.
It's a fair question.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the thing that everybody has their eyes on for Oklahoma. We'll find out really quickly how well he and the Oklahoma offense are going to be able to perform in the SEC when they go up against Michigan's defense. That's going to be the biggest first, early test of the season, and that's going to tell us a lot about who this team is. Now, will it tell us everything about who this team is? No, because who you are in week 2 doesn't necessarily mean that's who you're going to be at a different point in the season. Remember that Tennessee game was rough. The Texas game was rough. But Oklahoma, they played better over the second half of the season, even on offense, where they were terrible. They played better over the second half of the season when they finally kind of figured some things out based on the personnel that they had available.
Yep.
So we won't know everything about this team in week 2, but we'll know a lot about who this team is when they play the Michigan Wolverines. And that'll set the stage for what could be a great season or could be a season of or leading to transition. Hopefully it's a great season. Joel Klatt, Fox Sports college football analyst, had some things to say about Bedlam. He wants it back. We'll discuss coming up next here on Locked On Sooners. Thanks once again for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jay, one of the more intriguing things that occurred because of conference realignment was the loss of some of these big time rivalries, whether it's, the backyard brawl between Pitt and West Virginia, whether it's, Texas A&M, Texas, that was off the schedule for more than a decade whenever Texas A&M left, or it's Bedlam that is now off the schedule because Oklahoma and Texas left and Oklahoma State got mad and didn't want to figure some things out. Joel Klatt of Fox College Sports had this to say when on his show, a college football podcast. He said, where's the quote? You talk about no love lost in particular after the conference realignment. I want Bedlam. I want Bedlam every year. Nothing is scheduled right now. In December, Joe Castiglione, the athletic director at Oklahoma, said it wouldn't be until well into the 2030s that we're going to get this matchup.
Now we know.
Yeah.
This ain't really on Oklahoma trying to figure this out. But the thing is too, both schools truly could just buy out one of their FCS games and go do it. Like, why not? It's not like, one of their non-con games is not available to just buy them out and move this forward if they really wanted to. Teams do it all the time. They adjust their schedules quite often. So it's
Lincoln
not a
Riley's
situation.
trying to change his schedule all the time.
Right, exactly. Notre Dame's going to be gone off their schedule very soon. Congratulations to them. Just make things a little bit easier on themselves. Heck, it makes it even easier for Notre Dame, which I know they don't like the idea of it, but, it is what it is. But teams do it all the time. They try to adjust it and eliminate that competitive game. Oklahoma State need to figure it out. It's a fun rivalry. It's a great in-state rivalry, mainly because a lot of people go to work with people from the opposite team. So they can, jab at each other nonstop. Now, granted, I mean, the win totals are very much, lopsided, but that's not what's important. What's important is that there's a good amount of hate as fans there that you can, you can lean into. It's something fun. It's fun banter. So they need to figure out how to bring that bad boy back. Yeah,
it's a great secondary rivalry. OU Texas is always going to be number one. That will always be at the top of the list, whether it's national analysts looking at the top rivalries or whether it's Oklahoma and Texas fans talking about their number one rival. It's always OU Texas. Even Even with Texas A&M back on Texas's schedule, they know who their number one rival is. It's OU. But having that secondary rival in Oklahoma State, that moves the needle, man. And I get their little brother. Oklahoma dominates the series, but still, it's a fun game that creates a great atmosphere in both Norman and in Stillwater.
Yes.
Like the energy in both games is huge because Oklahoma wants to beat the brakes off of Oklahoma State. Fans want to put them in their place, or they want to have a big win. Those environments at night in Stillwater for there was like 2 of the last 3 Bedlams before Oklahoma went to the SEC. Those environments were electric. Like that was college football atmosphere at its finest for a road game for Oklahoma.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you want this? I want fun games. I want fun games on the schedule. If you tell me, okay, not Oklahoma State, then give me Nebraska every single year. Bring back that Big 8 rivalry every year.
Oh, man,
I don't care. Give me the fun games. Is it a tough game on the schedule? Yeah, but you got Michigan on the schedule. So what are we we're going to have Clemson down the road. Like you're going to have a home with Nebraska down the road. So you're not avoiding tough games. So why not just make that Oklahoma State and make Oklahoma State your big time non-conference game every single year?
I mean, you've got that from who was that? Georgia, Florida. I mean, Florida, they got 2 of them. They don't even have one. They got 2 in state.
Florida wants all the smoke, man. They are not playing.
Which I'll give them mad props for that. I mean, at the same time, it kind of sucks because, it kind of
it's either going to be great or it's going to be rough.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful. But they've got both of them there. Like, so they've set themselves, I mean, regardless, they're going to play them just because they've built those in to where they're eternally going to happen. Mm-hmm. I wish that we would get that same thing out of OU and Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
I would like to see both teams play. And of course, again, it's all based upon, their all the people in charge there. Just go out there, buy out one of your non-con, the smaller schools. I don't care, small FBS, whatever. Buy them out. That way you can bring that game and have it every year, Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Washington State have figured it out. Conference realignment didn't kill that. I want to say Oregon State are still going.
Yep.
South Carolina has Clemson every year. Like they're not worried about, hey, we played this SEC schedule, so we need to find cupcakes for our non-conference. No, they want the smoke too. They want Dabo Swinney and they want all the smoke. They want to play Clemson every year. So why, as Oklahoma fans, would we not want to play Oklahoma State or Nebraska or shoot even both? Like, I don't give me the tough games. Give it to me. Don't be afraid. You're Oklahoma. You're a blue blood program you're chasing 8 national championships. You've got 7 under your belt. Your quarterback, why would you be afraid to play anybody? Just go play the games. And then if you're Oklahoma State, you want this game on the schedule. Look what happened the first year it was off the schedule. You went 3-9.
No motivation.
Nothing to chase. The Big 12, like you were a favorite in the Big 12. It was right there for you to take, but you didn't have Oklahoma to chase anymore, and you fell flat on your face. So I know you want the game on the schedule because you need somebody to look up to and someone to chase, someone to hate, and you don't have anybody to hate right now in the Big 12. So you need your Bedlam rival, and we need it in November. I don't want a Bedlam in freaking September. No, I need Bedlam in November where it's cool outside and it looks like college football. That's when I need Bedlam as well.
Same. I need it then. They need to go ahead and just figure it out, guys. Stop being silly. You just figure it out. It's not like it's going to be that hard. Again, y'all always buy out teams. This is a very common practice. Just go do it this time. You'll be all right.
Just get her done. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, on YouTube. You can follow me at John 9 Williams and read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media profiles. be on the lookout today because Brian Harris is going to be committing at some time in the afternoon. Could it be Oklahoma? Fingers crossed. They're trending as the favorite to land Brian Harris, but we'll see what he ultimately decides on Friday afternoon. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer.
Sooner. For real, just go buy it out. Just get it done, dog.
Get it done. Make business happen.
Exactly.